All right, let's get right into it. What we're unpacking today is this incredible story about performance, about anger, and ultimately about liberation. And it's all told through the eyes of a writer who, well, let's just say she preferred beautiful lies over ugly truths.
So, this quote? This is our narrator. She's modeled after the one and only Dorothy Parker, so you know she's got this brilliant, cynical, seen-it-all kind of voice. And this line, it's just perfect. It cuts right through any glamour you might imagine and sets the stage for everything. And right here, this is the core of the whole thing. It's this push and pull between the creator, who has kind of given up on the world, and her creation, who learns how to fight. It's this fascinating idea that fiction can be like a dress rehearsal for a life you're not quite brave enough to live yet.
Okay, so first, we've got to get inside our narrator's head. I mean, why would a writer who's famous for her sharp-witted truths decide to write fiction instead of her own story? The answer tells us pretty much everything we need to know about her.
This really breaks down her whole philosophy. She thinks fiction is actually more honest than a memoir. For her, memoirs are just messy. They're trafficking in ugly truths, and you have to pretend you remember everything perfectly. But fiction? Fiction is different. It just promises you a good story. And for her, that's where the real truth is.
And this line just lays it all out, doesn't it? It explains exactly why she stopped sharing her work. See, publishing meant she had to believe someone was actually out there listening, and she'd lost that hope. But writing? Oh, that was different. That could be fueled by spite, a totally private thing.
All right, now let's meet her creation, Victoria Cross. The story takes us back to 1938, and Victoria is living this life that's just completely suffocated by expectations. The narrator calls it a life decorated in sophisticated neutrals, which is just the perfect metaphor for her own quiet, colorless existence.
Victoria's entire life is basically a performance, and the main stage is her marriage to her husband, Richard. It's totally passionless, built completely on appearances. We're talking separate bedrooms, long silences, and a whole lot of things left unsaid.
Listen to that. That's the first thing we hear from her husband. It's not hello, it's not how was your day, it's a criticism, a transaction. Those two little words tell you everything about the coldness of their relationship.
So naturally, Victoria tries to find an escape in an affair with a guy named David. But it turns out to be just another stage where she's being judged. You look tired. You know that's code, right? It's what people say when they mean you look old, or worse, when they're about to disappoint you. It's just another performance, and she's not getting the part.
And then her friend Margot comes in and just lays down the hard, cynical truth. This line perfectly illustrates the bars of Victoria's gilded cage. For a woman in 1938 with no money of her own, leaving isn't freedom. It's just trading one trap for another.
But this whole carefully built performance, this life lived in beige, it's all about to come crashing down. Two things are about to happen, one right after the other, that will completely shatter every illusion she's holding on to.
The first crack appears over lunch with David. She tries to be real, to be honest about how she feels, and what does he do? He dismisses her. You're being dramatic. And with that one devastating phrase, the affair is over. She realizes he never saw her at all, just a role she was playing. The final crack comes when she's going through her husband's desk and finds a love letter. But what's so wild is her reaction. She doesn't feel anger or even hurt. She feels relief. It's like permission. The rules have been broken, and not by her. The performance is officially over.
So, what do you do when your world falls apart? Well, Victoria doesn't collapse. Instead, she finds this new, powerful outlet for all the rage and disappointment she's been swallowing for years. She starts to paint.
This is really the central question of her story. What do you do? How do you start over when you realize the life you've been living is basically a lie? Well, Victoria's next moves become a kind of blueprint for rebellion.
Okay, so let's just break it down. It's almost like a 5-step guide. First, she acknowledges the lie. She stops pretending. Second, she finds an outlet, which for her is painting in this old, unused nursery. Third, and this is a big one, she makes her anger public with an art show. Fourth, she earns her own money. And finally, she leaves. And just look at this contrast. It's so powerful. The writer, our narrator, she retreated. She gave up because she thought no one was listening. But her creation, Victoria, she puts her rawest, angriest feelings on a gallery wall for the whole world to see. The character actually succeeds right where her creator failed. $500. Now, that might not sound like a life-changing amount of money, but you have to understand what it represents. This is the first money that is truly hers. It wasn't given to her by her husband, she earned it. That isn't just cash, that's tangible, undeniable independence. So, armed with this newfound sense of self, and yeah, a little bit of her own money, Victoria takes the final, most decisive step of all. She and Margot decide to leave their old lives behind and get on a boat to Paris.
I love this quote from Victoria because it just perfectly captures what real freedom feels like. It's not safe, it's not comfortable, it's terrifying, it's exhilarating, and it's completely, totally unknown. She's choosing that over the miserable certainty she left behind.
And when you look at the timeline, it's pretty stunning how quickly all of this happens. I mean, her entire rebellion, from finding the letter to getting on that boat, it all unfolds in just a matter of months back in 1938. It's an absolute whirlwind.
Which brings us right back to our cynical narrator, the one who questioned if happy endings even exist. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Did Victoria find a happy ending in Paris? Or did she find something maybe even more valuable? Something her own creator never could. Not happiness, but real, messy, terrifying freedom.